Greetings and happy Juneteenth. This is High Priestess LaShawn of the Woman of Ankh Sisterhood of Woman Priestesses. And today what I wanted to do is to share a little something with you so you can get to know me better, get to know, who I am. And I just want to share a little bit more about me today. Outside of certifications, I've done this and I've done that, but just to be more on a personal level and a part of my journey that is currently unfolding for me right now, right in front of my eyes. And what I want to talk about today is clairvoyance. And when I first discovered that was one of my gifts. It's a quite simple story, but first, I want to start out with just saying that we know that clairvoyance is being able to, see pictures, maybe having visions and dreams and different things like that. And for the most part, that comes through our third eye chakra and our pineal gland. And that's how we receive those. But our womb is actually an amplifier of that energy, to be able to, get those clear pictures, to get that information. Okay. I wanted to say that first. Now, how did I discover that clairvoyance was one of my gifts? It was about 16 years ago. My oldest daughter is 18, and I remember that I was trying to lose weight. She was 2 years old at the time, so it was 16 years ago. And I had went on a walk and trying to lose the weight, and when I came back, I was sitting there and I was praying. At that time, I was going to church. I had been baptized, and I just was trying to live the way of the Lord at that time. And I was sitting there and I prayed and I said, God, please send me someone that can help me to, understand the Bible is what my prayer was, because it just wasn't resonating with me when I was going to church. I wasn't feeling moved by things, but that was my prayer. And I was sitting there, and right after I said that, and I know my eyes were still open at the time, I got a vision. I got a vision of a Bible that sat on the desk of the lady that was next to me. I worked in a space where there was cubicles, and the lady had a Bible that sat on her desk all the time. I saw it every day that I went to work. And right after I saw the picture of that Bible, I saw a vision of this lady. Her name was Miss Carolyn, and Miss Carolyn worked there. I didn't talk to her on a day-to-day basis, but she was there, and I knew who she was in the vision. And right when I saw the picture of her, I kind of like shook my head, and I was like, did I really just see what I thought I saw? And I was like second guessing it. I was like, this is not what it could have been, but I saw it very clearly. So I was like, okay, so I guess the message is for me to talk to this lady, and she can help me with understanding the Bible better. So on my way to work, of course, I was talking myself out of it. I was afraid. I was like, this really didn't happen. This lady's going to think that I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm a little bit crazy, but these are the thoughts that was going on in my head. I pull up to work, go up the stairs, and as soon as I get to where I can see people in the building, Miss Carolyn is the first person that I see. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, are you serious? So I go to my desk. I'm putting my things up. I see the Bible sitting on the desk next to me, that I see every day. And I'm like, am I going to go over here and am I going to say something to this lady? But I go over, I make myself do it. I was like, you got to do it. So I go do it. And as I'm talking to her, I'm like, Miss Carolyn, and I'm telling her the whole thing, the whole vision. And in the middle of it, I break down and I start crying because I just really couldn't believe that I saw that. And now I'm sitting here talking to this lady about the vision. And she hugged my neck. She was like, it's okay. And after that, she started coming to my house every Saturday, having Bible study with me. And she had Bible study with me for probably about a year and a half. And later on, I found out that she was an adult Sunday school teacher. I went to church with her a couple of times and everything, because I had my own home church at that time. And, I really got to know her, and she became kind of like my auntie. Did the Bible and Christianity resonate with me anymore with studying with her? No. But that was just the first time that I knew that clairvoyance was one of my gifts. And I still didn't know what it really meant for me until years later. Probably about 6 years after that, I stopped going to church because I started reading more about African spirituality, and I started going to small gatherings and just learning more about, what African Americans did before Christianity. That was actually my question. That was actually my question during prayer one day, and I said, "What did African Americans do before they were brought over here as enslaved?" And that's when I started learning about African spirituality, and that's when I stopped going to church. And after I stopped going to church, doors kind of opened for me to learn more about, spirituality, energy, and eventually it came across that I learned about the clairs. And when I learned about the clairs and I started thinking about it, I was like, well, you know what? I think I had a vision. And then it started making me to also look at other things that had occurred in my life as far as, was that a vision? Was that a vision? So I started paying a little bit more attention. And now I really pay attention to visions and different things like that I might have. And the latest one, which was remarkable, I had a dream the other morning, or a vision the other morning. It was early, maybe 5 something. And in the vision, I saw a person in a white head wrap. I wasn't for sure if they had locks under there or not. I couldn't see it. I remember the person had like a slender face, dark skin, chocolatey, shiny, just glowing melanin. The melanin was popping, and had on white clothes, all white. And I thought it was a representation of Obatala in my dream, because Obatala is one of my supporting Orisha. But I was conducting Priestess Pathway sessions, and one of the ladies that came on looked exactly like the person in my vision, in my dream. I couldn't even believe it. I even told her about it. I said, I dreamed about you last night, because it was the next day when I was having this session with her. I was like, you were in my vision. And now it's for me to figure out, why was she in my vision? It might come to me later on, why she was in my vision, but she was in my vision. And over the years, once I learned that clairvoyance was a gift of mine, I use it heavily in my womb sessions. And we all have that gift. It's just a matter of us fine-tuning it. Well, maybe it might not be your strongest gift, but maybe clairaudience, clairsentience, one of those gifts. And in the Woman of Ankh womb portal, priestess portal program, we focus on womb site to amplify what it is that's inherently in you, that is your gift, how to actually foster that, how to grow it so that you can use it during your sessions with your clients. And all I can do is teach you what I've done over the years to strengthen my gift. And I believe what I will share with you, it will help you to enhance your gifts. It will help you to bring them forward, because sometimes, because I remember at one time, I don't know if I want to call it a gift. Well, yes, I am going to call it a gift. When I would look at people, when I look at them, I can read their energy. And most of the time, though, when I'm reading their energy, I'm getting all the negative, all the negative things about this person. But then I switched that around. I started to look at it another way. I'm not getting their negative energy. What it is that I'm just seeing the spaces and places where they need to be healed. Is what's actually going on. So I started to reframe that. I'm not seeing the negative energy. I'm just seeing where they need healing at. I'm just seeing when they need healing, and I see that as a gift now. I see that as a gift. So think about it. Start paying closer attention to yourself to see what your gifts are. What do you naturally do? What do you naturally feel? What do you naturally hear? Start making a journal. I actually made a journal of the visions and dreams that I've been having. You know, when I'm in session with clients, I take little notes as to what it is that I'm seeing energetically within their womb space. So start journaling so you can learn your own language, because there is a language between you and spirit, between you and the universe. It's your own unique language. And how you're going to determine what that is through paying attention to yourself, journaling about it, making these little notes so that you can find that red thread across everything. And you'll come out on the other side like, I didn't know that this was in me, but it is in you. It's just a matter of us birthing it and paying attention to it and not suppressing it any longer. Because when I found out that I just kind of saw the shadow of people, those areas that needed to be healed, in conversation with people, I stopped tuning into them, if that makes any sense. I maybe wouldn't even look in their eyes, because when I look in a person's eyes, I can see everything. So I stopped doing that. I stopped really just paying attention to them. I was talking to them, but I just wasn't tuning into them. But I stopped doing that. I stopped doing it so that my gift wouldn't be suppressed, and so that I could bring it forward, and so that I could use it to assist. It wasn't for me to suppress it, because I just didn't want to see what I deemed to be the negative side of a person. So start paying attention to yourself. You have womb sight. Remember, we receive that information through our third eye chakra, but our womb is what amplifies that signal and helps you to be able to download the information that's out there. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you, how I started to realize that I had a gift of clairvoyance. And pay attention to yourself so you can determine what type of gifts you have within yourself as well. Within the Priestess Portal program, we do focus on your gifts and growing them, and, you know, getting you to the point of using them, and especially in your system, especially in your sessions with your clients. Okay, so until next time, this has been High Priestess LaShawn with the Woman of Ankh Sisterhood of Womb Priestesses, and stay tuned, because there's going to be a webinar coming up soon. I'm actually working on it now, but it's going to be for women who have had hysterectomies. And I think I'm going to also mesh in menopause in there as well, because sometimes I know how I feel about menopause, about not having a cycle anymore. There was a shift, but I'll share that in that webinar. So until the next time, y'all have an amazing day. Enjoy Juneteenth. Let freedom ring, baby.